Welcome back to the shop. So I thought we'd go over and do a little follow-up on my bandsaw video that I made the other day. As you can see, I've constructed a little table for it. Fine tool, works nicely. Now this is not a high precision bandsaw. It's not a low precision. It's for doing the kind of stuff that I'm going to do. So, this is pretty simple. So we'll go over this. I'll just take it off the vise here and flip it over and show you what I've done. So here's the underside of it. Pardon my messy bench. Originally, I was going to, what was I going to do originally? Can't even remember what I was going to make a stand to go on that old cream separator base. Well, one of my commenter, I think it was Phil, said that he had one and a buddy made one for him and it was made to where it mounted in the vise. Well, I thought about that and I think that would be more practical in my situation. I had this stock right here. This was inch by inch and a half, I believe, stock, and I'd had some of this laying around that I had profiled, and I made some, I don't remember what I was making out of it, but this was leftovers. So anyway, I just welded a piece of this to the bottom of my plate here. I drilled and countersunk the plate, mounted it to the saw, and then just traced around it with a Sharpie so I knew where everything needed to be. And then I just mounted this to it. And I paid pretty close attention to getting this as parallel to this. Getting this as parallel to this as I could, just in case I've got to come off of here with some kind of a bracket and then drill and tap a couple of holes into this casting here. I think this is plenty rigid. This doesn't have an inch of wiggle in it. And I just used a regular old handy box and a gang switch. I don't even know which column. It's a switch over an outlet and it's ganged together. And I've done this several times on different projects in the shop where I've got a cord that I want to have a switched outlet. And zip tie the switch down from the factory, tie up the slack. This is a $4 garbage disposal whip. Buy these ready-made at the plumbing supply house that sells garbage disposals. They're really inexpensive. It's not a real heavy-duty cord, but it's got a molded plug. Handy box, stack switch, hey, easy peasy. It's drilled and countersunk for flathead cap screws. No big deal there. Pretty simple. And I have a measured drawing and I'll bring that up next. Okay, you can see here this is a plate. It's 8 inches by 10 inches. The tolerances on this is plus or minus half of the last digit. So not very close tolerance to that. So we got an 8 by 10 plate. We come over about halfway and we cut a slice up in here, 4 inches. I marked this 1/4 inch through hole, but I think that is, well, it's the same twist drill that I use to drill my through holes for the drill and countersink here and here, because we drilled and countersunk 2 times for 5mm flathead cap screw. So there and there's a flathead cap screw drilled and countersunk, and I use the same drill to drill this, and that's 4 inches up and 5 inches over. And then I just struck a line and then sawed a kerf here so that I can change the blade. Now the only really important dimensions on this, and I measured this 3 or 4 times, this is 909 thousandths from here to here, from this center to that center. And those are stepped over 723 thousandths from here. That's really the two critical, because that bolt spacing is critical and that step over is critical. And you need to add 3/8 if you guys build this for yourselves with this particular model of bandsaw. You need to add 3/8 of an inch to this measurement, and I'll show you why right now pretty quick. But this should be 2.375 for this measurement right here, and that will put the blade further back almost to the end of the slit. I've got my blade actually stops 3/8 of an inch too far this away. So make this measurement 2.375, this in 909, and this in 723 thousandths, and it'll work out just right. As it is, everything works for me, except I had to knock a little corner off here, and my blade don't sit far enough back. So if you change this dimension here, you don't have to do this, and the blade sits all the way back. So you can see right here what I'm talking about. This needs to be 2 3/8 from this center to this center, and that'll put that blade all the way back in this curve. And you won't have to make this notch to clear the blade guide. So that was the only cuckoos I had on this little project, and they weren't major. Didn't even correct them. It just is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And one more thing. This is the bottom of a gas furnace. When I buy a new gas furnace to put in somewhere, if it's an upflow gas furnace, you take this bottom out for your return to come through. So it's really slick because it's got this square, reasonably square, raised inset on it, which works real good with just a framing square to do quick drawings on. So I do a lot of drawings on these. I've got 2 or 3 of them laying around here in the shop. And when you're done, you just use a Sharpie. When you're done, you give it a little lacquer thinner and wipe it off, and you can start over. If you want to get real fancy about things, do your dimensions in blue or red and the outlines in black, and that'd be real fancy. So hope you all enjoyed, hope you learned something. Y'all drive safe, watch for deer.